We are live. Let's hang out in the chat. Let's have a good day. Just like last week, it was pretty fun. We're going to talk about the... Oh, whoops.
Now, I'm actually going to remove that one because I already have it over here on the right-hand side. Now,
Oh, shit. That's not what I wanted to do. Let's shut the sound off on my computer. Let's mute my sound bar. Let's go to hide and seek just to search myself on the YouTube to make sure we are live. Yeah, right here we live. Come join the fam for some Draftkings Showdown Slate nonsense. Cool. So we're in here. Kyle's in here. Yo, what's up? Basically, the first thing we're going to be looking at, obviously I'm going to let some time for some people to come in. But before we do anything, we're just going to go over the slate itself. We're going to go over some of the Vegas totals. Basically, I'm on Fantasy Labs /NFL/Vegas. It's where a lot of my, implied totals come from, what the line of the game is, because it's pretty up to date. Obviously, they use Draftkings data. If we go over to Fantasy Labs, let's find the Arizona game. Of course, they're not going to be one of the top games. Right here. So in this Arizona-Baltimore game, Baltimore is 2 touchdown favorites at a projected team total of almost 30 points, which is a lot. It looks like, the line went down 1 point, but it's been held pretty steady over the week. That means that, the Vegas betting public is pretty sure that, the Ravens are going to win by a good amount. They should control the ball. Kyler Murray could be in it for a long day, but it looks like the Ravens, they play fast. They score pretty quick, so there's a good chance that Kyler Murray starts this game right away, down by a touchdown or two. So it looks like to me last week when Kyler Murray, the first 2-3 quarters, he looked awful. The team had no flow. They had no momentum. As soon as, they really started just to change to complete comeback mode once Stafford scored that last touchdown in the third or fourth quarter, they just really turned it on and just let things loose. It looks like Kyler Murray has a chance to do that for the entire game this week. We're hoping to see a little bit more efficiency out of Christian Kirk. This is not an ideal game script for David Johnson, but the thing is that he's so involved with the passing game, and we know that a target for a running back is almost, I think this number was like 4 times more effective or more efficient in terms of fantasy points than a carry. On the Baltimore side of things, we have Hollywood Brown dealing with an injury, and I'm not sure what the latest is. It says he's questionable. Brown hip is listed as questionable for Sunday's game against the Cardinals. If you guys see anything during the stream, can you let me know if you have the latest on on Hollywood Brown. Mark Andrews too, but they said that injury was just a typical rest day for him. He's going to be fine. Even so, anyone investing in the Ravens offense would be wise. Check back around 11:30. So yeah, it's 11:02 right now. Let me know, guys, in like a half hour if you do see anything on Hollywood Brown, and we will adjust accordingly. Right now, he is not, in play for me in cash, which it is what it is. Going to the next game, the 49ers and the Bengals. 49ers and the Bengals, where are they at? You'd think that would be easy to find. Oh, right here. So this game is San Francisco it's pretty much a pick-em, -1 San Francisco, but pretty much a pick-em. Both implied totals of around 22, 23 points. I'm going to want to be involved in this game a little bit. There are a lot of good prices over here. I'm not really looking at either of the quarterbacks in Jimmy G at 6K or Andy Dalton at 5,400. Cincinnati's defense looked all right. I don't know if that's just a week 1 jitters from Seattle. Or, Cincinnati defense might be all right. Probably not. They don't have a ton of talent on that side of the ball, but it is something to pay attention to. The pass catches in that game, though, let me just look at some pricing. Go to depth chart of this game specifically. Tevin Coleman not playing. Matt Breida 5,200. Raheem Mostert 3,800. Marquise Goodwin. I almost called him Hollywood because I saw Marquise. Marquise Goodwin 44. Debo Samuel 37. Dante Pettis 53. Bourne, Taylor, Richie James, and Jalen Hurd. I don't think Jalen Hurd's playing this week. Kittle at 6,800. On the other side of the ball, we have Mixon, who, was questionable all week, but it looks like he's going to suit up. So Gio Bernard at 5,300 isn't as much of a slam play as we thought it might be. AJ Green is out. Tyler Boyd, 6,500, should be peppered with another double-digit target game. John Ross at 4,600. He's not a cash game viable to me. I'm just not going to ride the roller coaster. Perfectly fine GPP play, but I think you might be chasing a little bit there. Pharaoh Cooper, yeah, nothing else really in play for me on this side of the ball. Cincinnati defense is in play for me. They are one of the defenses I am looking at. Hey, Kraken Ultra, Kyle, you know it. We got a few ready for game time. But we mostly just drink them before, right on the stream, and I probably don't really drink at all during the games. I just hang with you guys, drink 3 or 4 beers, and that's my day. Going over to the Charger and Detroit Lion game. I like how I can just click on this game specifically, and it'll only show me, like watch. One thing that you guys can do, I don't know if you've ever seen before, you can click specifically on, well, this game I had already clicked as well for some reason. You can click just on the check mark next to the team name, and it'll show only players from that team at every position, which is pretty cool. Or you can check both of them, and it'll only show you players in this game. So say you're interested in this game, you can see prices for both of them. Say, like, all right, in this game, what are the receivers looking like? What are both quarterbacks looking like? Etc. If we go over to Fantasy Labs, we're looking for the Chargers and Lions. It looks like the Chargers are 1.5 favorites, but it's pretty much a pick 'em. -1.5. There's not too much to read into there. Pretty much 24 points and 23 points projected for each team. I do like Austin Eckler a lot. I think that he's just super effective with the ball. I wasn't huge on him coming into the year, but after I saw him in week 1, I'm more of a believer for sure. 6,100 is something that I can go with. I'm definitely not fading Austin Eckler. He didn't get into my initial build, but I don't know if that's going to be a mistake. Look at him last week. He had 12 carries and 7 targets, but it's more about efficiency. He had 3 touchdowns. He had 16 yards per catch, another 5 on the ground. So super efficient with the ball. This offense is going to be good. They want to get the ball to their running backs. On average, the Chargers team threw the ball to running backs 5% more last season when Hunter Henry was out. So without Hunter Henry, we're looking for Eckler maybe even to get closer to that 8-9 target range. But we'll see. That would be more if, the Lions do a better job of keeping up. If the Lions come out laying an egg, Austin Eckler is not something I really want to just bank on, 20 carries on the ground. But 6,100, that's a great price right there. Let's just stay in this game. Let's just go to running backs. Carry on at 5,700. The Chargers defense is really good, but Marlon Mack tore them up last week, so I'm not really afraid of it. But I'm not really excited about the usage for Kerryon Johnson. I'd love to see 16 carries, right? The 2 targets is kind of depressing. What's your favorite game this week? My favorite game this week in terms of fantasy points, and my favorite game in terms of being a fan. Because in terms of fantasy points, I think that it's tough because I think that there's two. There's 2, right? There's this Kansas City Oakland game, and there's this New Orleans Rams game. Let's just only highlight those players real quick, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's take out these 2. So at quarterback, we got some Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, Jared Goff, and Derek Carr, all in play for me in cash. I'm really more so looking at Goff and Mahomes, the favorites in the game. Are the Rams still a favorite in that game? I thought they opened as a favorite. The Saints are a 1-point favorite, so it's essentially a pick 'em, but I think the Rams can win that game for sure. At quarterbacks, I'm really like Mahomes and Goff are two of my people that I've been, more so looking at in terms of cash game quarterbacks. Goff at 5,900. We know that last year week 1 he started off slow, and then weeks 2 through 5 he came out slinging. He had much better performances. I know that he crushes the New Orleans Rams. I think the New Orleans Saints. One thing we know about Goff as well is the fact that he plays a lot better at home. And it looks like Gurley really might be limited. So if he's going to be limited, we think that Jared Goff is going to be a 300-yard passer pretty consistently. And just getting that 300-yard passing is like a 15-point day. Plus any touchdowns, I think 5,900 is a pretty easy chance to, break even at value at least. I think that there's better plays. I do prefer Josh Allen at 5,300, and I do prefer Patrick Mahomes at 7,500. But keeping with this game, Alvin Kamara at 8,200, or these two games, look at how much fantasy relevance there are just in the running back position. You got Alvin Kamara, Todd Gurley, Damon Williams, Shady McCoy, Josh Jacobs, Malcolm Brown, Latavius Murray. At receiver, you have Michael Thomas, Sammy Watkins, Robert Woods, Cooks, Kupp, Hardman, Tyrell Williams, Traquan. Tight end, we got Kelsey, Cook, Waller. And I really don't want any of the defenses in this game. As you can see, opponents ranks first, second, and third. Not exactly what we're looking for. That makes no sense how Chiefs and Raiders can both be playing against the first-ranked, fantasy defenses, but it is what it is. Getting back into the games themselves for the week. Where were we? We ended with the Chargers lines. I didn't really get too deep into it. It makes it hard because you don't want to overload players from a few teams, but I see what you mean. Yeah, like I said I don't know if you watched the lineup builder from last night, Kyle, but basically what I was saying is it's not really a game I want to fade because you can't really fade this game, right? Because I was saying that, for example, you could have, say, Patrick Mahomes and Tyrell Williams, and they're $12,000 combined in salary. And Mahomes can have a 35-point day and Tyrell Williams can have a 30-point day. Say you fade them for Jared Goff and who are they playing? Say Jared Goff and Michael Thomas, you're spending a lot more money. You're spending $14,000. And say Goff has a 16-point day and Michael Thomas has an 11-point day. So yeah, you got kind of cute. You got off with a top ownership, but you scored 40 points less total for a little bit more money. So it's don't get cute, don't fade this game at all. But if you want to get different, there are enough games on the slate and good plays that you can leverage other spots. I think one of the easiest ways to get different is to attack this. I'm attacking a lot of this Buffalo-New York Giants game. I think that isn't really something that a lot of people are doing. I know that, everyone knows Josh Allen's a pretty good play this week. Everyone knows Evan Ingram's a pretty good play this week. But I think that they're going to gravitate more towards either, the Darren Wallers at 3,300s, the TJ Hawkinsons at 3K, Delaney Walker at 3,500, which is what I was doing earlier in the week until I got the news that Sterling Shepard is going to be out. So Evan Ingram at 5,200, I kind of had to lock it in. 14 targets week 1. Now the wide receiver 1 is out. It's pretty much just going to be Ingram and Saquon. So Ingram was a pretty easy call, and I think that's pretty good leverage on the field, just that alone. It's not a bad idea to get up to Kelsey because he historically kills the Raiders, but I think that's a pretty good lock. And then just staying inside this game, right? I love John Brown at 5,200. Cole Beasley, I was watching the NFL Game Pass last night at 3 a.m., and the first few drives, he had 9 targets. Cole Beasley was being attacked early and often from Josh Allen. Obviously, I don't like to put people that are just not very talented in my cash game lineups, but he will get the ball a lot. This Giants defense sucks. It's just something to think about there. And then obviously we have Saquon, Devin Singletary. We have Saquon and Devin Singletary. Saquon is probably going to be pretty low owned because he's a lot more expensive than guys like Alvin Kamara, who's probably in a better spot because Buffalo is a pretty good defense, but Saquon's just such a different type of guy. The defense doesn't really matter. He's going to kill whoever he faces, and it looks like he's going to be either the number 1 or number 2 target in the passing game as well with no Sterling Shepard. I don't want to get cute, guys. Please don't get cute and play Cody Latimer in your cash game lineups. I understand he's probably going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Giants, and yeah, he can blow up, but don't get cute. There's no reason to get here. I'd just rather have stronger players. Quarterbacks for these games, obviously it's Eli Manning and Josh Allen. Josh Allen is where I'm looking. He had 20 points in week 1. This defense just got carved up by Dak Prescott last week. I think they're pretty similar players. I think Josh Allen is, oh, whoops. Wait 1 second. Let me just adjust something real quick. Let me just go boom, boom, boom. Cool. I don't know. It might not look that great, but I just had to make that a little bit cleaner. Anyways, Josh Allen at 5,300 at the New York Giants is a great spot. Marcus, what's going on, bro? How you doing? Crack one. It's like 9:15 in the morning for you, dude. You should be drunk by now. We were just talking about how we can get leverage off of the Kansas City Chiefs and the Oakland Raiders game because there's going to be a ton of love for Josh Jacobs, Tyrell Williams, Patrick Mahomes, Sammy Watkins, which I didn't even get to... How did I talk about this game? I didn't even say one word about Sammy Watkins. Wide receivers, Sammy Watkins at 7,200. 9 catches on 11 targets for 198 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's pretty good. I would say that's pretty good. And now we have... Watkins was playing chess while the typically stingy Jags defense was playing checkers early Sunday. The game set career highs for Watkins. In fact, he scores as many touchdowns Sunday as he did the entirety of the 2018 season. Hill is out and Watkins looks healthy, and Watkins is one of the most talented players at the position when healthy. With Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball, give me some Sammy Watkins shares at 7,200. Let me show you guys a cash game lineup that I was messing around with last night. Obviously, I just put in my placeholder lineup, so these aren't actually what I'm going to be using. I'll show you my first build and what my second build looked like. So my first build, this is, I think, my first look lineup. Started with Josh Allen. I love the matchup. Alvin Kamara, had to get exposure to Kamara. Austin Eckler at 6,100, who I was just talking about. And I wanted to get up to both Hopkins and Michael Thomas because I didn't like a lot of the wide receiver plays this week. Hopkins against anybody is the best wide receiver in the league. 13 targets last week, 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. Michael Thomas last year when he played against this Rams team hung 200 yards on him. Last week, 13 targets, over 100 yards, double-digit catches. Danny Amendola, 26 points in week 1, 13 targets. I want to know a little bit more about his snap count. I don't know how much he was on the field, but 13 targets leads me to believe that he's on the field a lot. I don't think that they're going to air the ball out as much as he did on, last Sunday. But at 3,900, it allowed me to get up to Michael Thomas and Hopkins, so I did. TJ Hawkinson at 3K, I had to go there. You could either go TJ Hawkinson or Darren Waller in this initial build because Darren Waller's at 3,300 and I had 3,300 remaining. But I just went with Hawkinson because I think the talent is just far superior. Yeah, it's going to be a game that's there's just going to be more people on Waller because it's a better spot. I like Hawkinson because I'd rather play the talent. Josh Jacobs is easy, and then I have the Jaguars defense. So this is my initial build, right off the bat. I wanted to get up to both Hopkins and Thomas, which is something I never do. I don't care about getting up to receivers and cash. That's the last place I spend my money. I just didn't like a lot of the cash receivers this week. So I kind of switched things up after I looked at the slate for a while. This was yesterday, I think, in my lineup builder video. And yes, I still have Josh Allen, Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, but pretty much the whole entire lineup is different. Spent up a little more to get the Bengals defense. And then this is where things got interesting. Starting with Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook at 7,200. I didn't like him, right? It's because it's tough to take a guy that was 6K last week in a better spot, right? Dalvin Cook against the Falcons at 6K is a much better play than Dalvin Cook at 7,200 against the Packers. But this team wants to run the ball. Even though the Green Bay defense is going to be good, they're going to run the ball a ton. He had 2 touchdowns last week, 21 carries. Alexander Madison got more touches last week because the game was out of hand pretty much right away. I think the Vikings were up 21-0 in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken. At least the second quarter. So I think Dalvin Cook's going to get a little bit more run. He's just one of those top 5 guys to me, and if I can find him, that's guaranteed. For me, I think that's guaranteed 25 touches at 7,200. One of the most talented players in the league. I wanted to get there. So then I have Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, and Josh Jacobs, all projected 20 to 30 touches each. So I got my touch that I wanted out of the running back position. And then this is where things got interesting. Obviously, Evan Ingram is a huge upgrade from TJ Hawkinson. I think that he could have 6 or 7 more targets. So I had to spend the extra $2,200, which made me come off of Hopkins and Michael Thomas. I upgraded from Danny Amendola to Tyrell Williams in this matchup because I still needed to get some exposure to this game with 2 Oakland players. And then this is where things got pretty interesting because I stacked Josh Allen with John Brown. Huge John Brown guy, and then I got up to Sammy Watkins at 7,200. I think I like this build a little bit better. Yeah, Marcus, Josh Jacobs is cheap this week at below 5K because this slate was already priced. So basically, the slate comes out Monday at like 1 a.m., right? So pretty much right after the Sunday night games when you go to bed, Draftkings released the week 2 pricing. So Josh Jacobs hadn't played it down yet. Same with Tyrell Williams at 4,400. They couldn't change the price. They had already priced him for this week before that Monday night game last week. So Josh Jacobs at 4,700 is just going to be super chalky, and so is Tyrell Williams at 4,400. But I do kind of want to eat that chalk, and I'm running that back with Kansas City using Sammy Watkins. Kyle, do you think you almost have to eat the chalk with Watkins just in case he goes off and other people have him? Yeah, I think Watkins isn't going to be as chalky as a lot of other players because he's at 7,200. I think that he's going to be owned, but he's not going to be super chalk in cash. I think that Tyrell Williams actually is definitely much chalkier cash game receiver than Watkins. Out of my 3 receivers, Watkins is probably the least chalky. Josh Allen's chalk, Alvin Kamara's chalk, so is Josh Jacobs and Evan Ingram. So I'm probably eating the chalk at 4 places, but I think that there's 4 spots at quarterback they can go. There's 3 or 4 at tight end. So I'm not guaranteed to be, the same players as my opponent at those 2 positions. Alvin Kamara, I'm gonna eat the chalk. I think everybody on the slate. I think it's gonna be like 90% owning cash. I think Alvin Kamara at 8,200 just has to be in your lineup. I don't want to be the guy not to have Alvin Kamara. That would just be very bad for me. So, yeah, I think that's a good question. But there's some times where I want to eat the chalk. For example, Alvin Kamara, but I don't think Watkins is gonna be that chalk in GPPs. He's going to be highly owned. Let me just make a GPP lineup to show you guys what my thought process is in GPPs. Let's play the Millie. The Millie Maker. So thought process in GPPs, we want to get the most total points, so we want to stack our quarterback and receiver. You guys tell me, Marcus and Kyle, do you want to stack Patrick Mahomes and Sammy Watkins? Do you want to stack Josh Allen and John Brown? Or do you want to stack what's a good stack? Ben and Juju. Because I like Ben and Juju to bounce back. You guys pick the stack that we start with. Ben Roethlisberger, Juju, Patrick Mahomes, Sammy Watkins, or Josh Allen, John Brown. Marcus said, I can't see Watkins being too chalk. Honestly, at that price, people might not believe in him that much yet. After this week, he could be chalk. That's what I'm saying. At 7,200, it's one of those in-between prices, just like Dalvin Cook, where it's like he killed it in week 1. The matchup's a little bit tougher. Not for Sammy Watkins, and now he's up to 7,200, which is it's not that top-tier price where, Hopkins at 8,200, Saquon at 9,200, but they're not cheap either. So, Marcus, Kyle, anyone else in the chat, who do you guys want to start with for our GPP stack at quarterback and wide receiver? Out of those 3. We could either do, like I said, we could do Mahomes and Watkins. Just did Allen, so let's go Ben and Juju. Might be a stack less common after the week 1 performance. All right, let's do that. Kyle, let's go Big Ben and Juju just to be different. All right, cool. It's pretty unanimous if you ask me. Ben at 5,800, and we'll start with Juju at, it's probably pretty expensive still, 7,500. I know he was dealing with that turf toe. I'm not too concerned about it. Practice full this week. Yeah, I'm really not worried at all. So one thing in defense we want to do is be a little bit different. Let's just stick with, let's go back to the Jaguars just because they're going to be really low owned. The reason I like the Jaguars against tough Houston defense is Houston allowed the most pressure on Deshaun Watson in week 1. The way that you correlate points with defense and fantasy points is to pressure the quarterback, cause more sacks, cause more turnovers. So they're going to be pretty low owned after getting killed by Patrick Mahomes. At tight end, guys, I don't want to go Evan Ingram because it's too chalky. I do either want to go with... I want to go either Darren Waller. No, I want to go TJ Hawkinson pretty clearly because he has the best upside and he's 3K to let us do other things. What do you guys... We're trying to get off chalk, so do you guys think that we should go... We're not going Kamara, which kind of sucks, but we're not going him in GPPs. Do you guys want to go Austin Eckler at 6,100? Damian Williams at 5,800, who I think no one's going to be on. What else could we do that's really cool? We could go David Montgomery at 4,900. It's going to be very low owned. What else is popping off? Nothing's really popping off the page besides that. We can go with studs after that. Do you guys want... Pick one of those three real quick. Pick either Eckler. Who else did I say? Eckler, Damian Williams, or David Montgomery. And then I'll hop on over to wide receiver while we're picking that. Let's see some lower owned players, but some smash spots. So we kind of want to run this stack back, Ben Roethlisberger, Juju, with, kind of a boomer bust player, which kind of sucks, but we're going to run it back with Tyler Lockett. I understand he had a bad week 1. But he was double covered most of the game. The Pittsburgh Steelers are notoriously bad against the slot position. And he's one of the best players at the position. So we're going to run it back this stack with Tyler Lockett. We have a lot of money left. Marcus said Eckler, Kyle said Montgomery. Let's go with both of them. Let's go Eckler 6,100. And we'll go David Montgomery at 4,900. So we have a ton of money left for the last 2 spots. Do you guys want to pay up for Hopkins or Michael Thomas? And if not, where do you guys want to spend the money at? Running back, we have Saquon at 9,200, Zeke at 8,700, Dalvin at 72, Gurley at 7K, pretty low owned. We don't have any exposure to that game right now, huh? Well, we don't have any exposure to the Kansas City game yet either. So I kind of want to get exposure in these last 2 spots to those 2 games, to either Kansas City, Oakland, or New Orleans Rams. So let me know where you guys want to be at, which game is more important. 1 running back, 1 wide receiver. All right, let's go to running backs then first. Let's just go Damian Williams. Let's see how much we have money, and we'll kind of switch things up from there because we're gonna have too much money. 8,300 at wide receiver. We can get Hopkins or Michael Thomas. We went Williams, so say we went. I would like MT for sure. Okay, so here's an example of a GPP lineup, and let me just talk you through why I like each one. Like we said, Ben Roethlisberger and Juju just did awful week 1. They're going to be very low owned. They were a very profitable stack last season. Seattle is pretty bad against number 1 wide receivers in recent years. I think Juju's in a huge bounce back spot at 7,500. We went Lockett to run that back at 6,200. He's going to be very, historically low owned for the guy. And we're running that back. So basically, we're thinking Roethlisberger, Juju put up points. Russell might have to throw the ball a little bit more, so we're running it back with Lockett. Eckler's not going to be low owned, but we don't need to get cute here. I like Eckler in a spot. I think he's either going to score 15 or 35 points. We're looking at him scoring 35 in a GPP. David Montgomery, I don't know, looking at it, how much I love this upside, right? So say I put, we wanted 1 running back and 1 wide receiver. So let me see if we did something a little bit different. Or say we went... I don't even know, some options that I love at running back. Running back position just sucks this week. Except for the top. Let's go Saquon. Well, I can't go Saquon. That's a little bit expensive. Let's go James Conner. Let's run a full Steelers stack. And then at 4,200, we have a lot of options. Devin Singletary, Cortland Sutton, Devontae Parker, Malcolm Brown, A.J. Brown, Danny Amendola, Ted Ginn Jr. What do you guys like? Is anything popping out to you? Cutie at 3,800. Terry McLaurin at 3,800. Deebo Samuel at 37. Royce Freeman's only 3,700. I think it's because most people are like me and they just don't want to touch that game after the usage we saw. Justin Jackson, Eckler stack. Marcus, I would not win a GPP because we need both people to average 25 points. We need to get up to, we have 9 positions. If everybody scores 25 points, that's 225 points. We're looking for like 230, 250 to win a GPP. And if Eckler has a 30-point day, it's very hard for Jackson to have a 30-point day. Like Gallup a lot, but like Tyrell more for that price. We're just 200 points away. I mean, $200 away from either of them. Like, we could go Tyrell. Kyle, I agree with you that it is kind of like a lottery ticket, but depending on what you can do, like there's definitely like you can be a profitable tournament player. To be honest, wow, I hate these defenses. Something funny I saw this week, guys, was it's called the Miami Dolphins defense like confidence check, where basically Mike Tagliere from Fantasy Pros says, how confident are you that you're going to beat your opponent in fantasy this week? If you're confident enough, put in the Dolphins defense at your defense spot. They're 18-point dogs against the Patriots. They gave them 59 points in week 1. If you're that confident that you're going to win your matchup in week 1, go ahead and put the Miami Dolphins in at your defense to prove it. I thought that was so funny. The Dolphins defense challenge. Yeah, something like that. That is a riot. That is pretty funny. But yeah, we can't go down to this because we just hate the pricing here. What if we went to Terry McLaurin like you said? What do we have on defense? 2,800. Say we just went Texans against Gardner. No, we can't go against Gardner Minshew. You guys saw him get off the plane. Let's just go Broncos versus, Mitch Trubisky. Kyle said, the thing is, though, I really think you're better off in GPP going with chalky lineups and splitting a $1 million prize pool with 10 plus people rather than trying to win $1 million with a scrappy lineup. Like, statistically speaking, Kyle, you're actually very wrong on that. Because the thing with chalk, right, is... Like I'll send you the link after. The thing with having a chalky lineup is you're playing it safe. Chalk is normally considered like a safer bet. You're playing it for cash. They have a limited ceiling, and you need a ceiling when it comes to GPPs. And you don't want to be splitting the cash because it's like if you made a lineup that is a top 0.5% lineup, you don't want to win 100K. You want to win $1 million because the thing is you have to play so many more contests in such a different way if you're going to be splitting it as opposed to, building a lineup that's going to be low owned in certain spots. It's not even like I'm not saying put in, a bunch of scrubs. Like, this isn't just like bad players. Like, I don't want to play bad players. I want to play lower owned guys in not as obvious spots. Because, like, thing at running back, yeah, like, everybody's going to be on Josh Jacobs. That means if Josh Jacobs has a bad day and we're on, James Conner, we have so much leverage on the field where it's like that automatically puts us ahead of, 60% or 70% of the lineups that's going to have Josh Jacobs. And you're not trying to, have like a solid score and beat your opponent. You're trying to have leverage on the entire field. And the only way to do that is to get different and to leverage off of what you think a high percentage of the field is going to have. And the easiest way to do that is to target 2 or 3 players that you think most of the field's going to have. Just pivot off of those guys. You automatically have a different lineup. And you have leverage where... Say your guy does really well and their guy does really bad. Your lineup automatically is better than 70% of other lineups. Say you hit on 2-3 other spots that are pivots. That's going to be in store for like a big payday instead of like, splitting it with that many people. Yeah, you do got to take some guaranteed points. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you got to go chalk some places. But the thing is, in GPPs, it's like you don't want to have guys 70% owned. I think Adam Levitan has the article, Levitan stats on GPP winners. Basically, I want to see if I have it. Here's a cool stat. Every single Million Maker winner over the last 2 years rostered a player under 6% owned. That means every single person that's won the Million Maker has, played somebody that nobody else is on. This is a cool article that has a lot of, these type of stats. 100% of people had at least one player who was less than 5% owned. That's what I'm saying. You can't be the same. You need to have those risks because that's going to give you so much lineup on the field. This is just like, pretty like generic stats. Like most people don't spend over 6K at quarterback. Most people don't use a tight end in the flex. Most people use almost all of their salary. Most people don't spend up on defense. 80% of winners stack their quarterback with their wide receivers. It just shows the correlation and why it could be chalky to have Josh Allen at quarterback, Sammy Watkins at receiver, but 80% of the winners have Josh Allen and John Brown or Patrick Mahomes and Sammy Watkins because the correlation between your quarterback and top tier receiver is going to be that help to get you over the hump and getting a combined 70 points between the two. And here's what I was telling you about Kyle right here, where you do need to go chalk in some places. 83% of winning lineups roster at least one player who is more than 20% owned. So yeah, they're going to be a little bit chalky, but it's not like they have, the 70% owned type players. Right here's the main stat that I need you to see. 86% of the winners out of 100, 86% of the Million Maker winners had an average cumulative ownership below 15%. That means every single guy on their lineup, on average, was owned by less than 15% of the field. So that's why you need to have leverage on the field. We need to balance that out with some lesser owned plays so our cumulative ownership doesn't creep too high. A whopping 29 Million Makers had ACO below 15%, which is average cumulative ownership, proving how crucial this number is. This is the most important side of this thing, basically saying that the only way you come in first in the Million Maker is really to have, leverage on the field in this type of way. Fair enough. I know what you're saying. Guess you got to have a healthy mix. Marcus, honestly, I like the Connor Juju Big Ben stack. Kyle said lotto ticket. Give us some 6% owned players that you'd be looking to start. Kyle, more amateurs must win these than pros. Then no, it's really not. If you look at, obviously, I don't know how involved you are in the DFS community. Probably the two biggest names, like I just showed you, is Adam Levitan and Evan Silva. They just started a new website called Establish the Run. One of their co-owners, there's 6 of them that own the site. It's Evan Silva, Adam Levitan, or whatever. Here, I'll just show you the site real quick. But on Thursday night, one of their co-owners won it all, 250K. And the thing is, these guys play, literally his job at Establish the Run is talking about single game Showdown Slate, which is what Thursday was. And then he goes and wins he wins the 250K. So it's people think that it's amateurs because it's one lineup versus one lineup. Amateurs are most likely going to have lower owned guys. But these pros put in 150 lineups, and they have different ownerships of each player. So they say, all right, I want to build 150 lineups with, I want 20% of my lineups to be exposed to Patrick Mahomes as my quarterback. I want 20% exposure to Josh Allen. I want 20% exposure to Jared Goff, for example. So they have 150 different combinations of, their player pool that could be 6 quarterbacks, 10 running backs, 10 tight ends, 10 wide receivers, and 3 defenses, whatever it is. So these pros say, okay, let me just have different combinations of guys I like. So they're still pros, and they know which guys that they do think are going to be lower owned and have a good day. But they don't want to just put all their eggs in one basket of, okay, I think it's specifically going to be Mahomes is going to be the one that goes off, and Watkins and, say Michael Thomas. They're going to say, I want different lineups that are exposed to all those different players, so any combination of them can win. I have 150 chances to win those. So it's really not that most amateurs win those. It really is most pros, but they're playing so many more lineups. LOL, let's make a GPP Python script. That's literally what Daily Roto Optimizer is, Kyle. That's so basically you put in say you put in your ownership percentages. I want to own 20% of Patrick Mahomes, and you can put conditions where, do I still have an account for Daily Roto? I know I did last year. Not a robot. Boom. Basically, you put in... Okay, so I guess I canceled my subscription. But basically, you put in how much ownership you want of, say, Patrick Mahomes. And you put in every lineup that Patrick... You put in conditions. In every lineup that Patrick Mahomes, I want 100% exposure to Sammy Watkins because I want to stack them in every one of my GPP builds. It'll spit out 150 lineups for you, given the conditions that you gave it. Just permutations of percent owned. It's tough to calculate percentage owned. Basically, what I use is something called fan share. I don't think I can show this on stream, but there's like not a lot of people, and I don't think you guys are gonna snitch on me because they don't want you to show their their pro data. Guys, I am a pro. Basically, it gives you examples of what they think each player is gonna be owned. I'll only show like one row, so I don't get yelled at. See how it says like. We'll just show you Darren Waller, so I don't get yelled at. But they show the name of player, the team, and then where is it? DKPO, which is DK Draftkings projected ownership. It means that they think that Darren Waller is going to be 17.24% owned by players in the Draftkings Million Maker. So I use a site like this that kind of takes just third-party data of Draftkings themselves. And it's kind of tough because they also just like take data from like internal of like what they think the ownership's going to be like if they were building lineups. So it's a little bit skewed, but it is important to use a site like this where you can kind of see, okay, what's the projected ownership this week on players. That's why I use FanShare when I'm building GPP lineups. But yeah, guys, do you have any questions on cash games this week? Do you have any questions of, quarterbacks, obviously not stacks because we're talking about cash games. Do you have questions on like, all right, I'm going to be playing this, and this. Who do you prefer between these two players? Do you want to see anything? Like, let me know in the comments what do you guys want to see right now. This is one of those games right here that I want to talk about real quick. Mark said really cool way to look at it. Kyle, what are 3 cash game lineups you're going with? So I don't go with 3 cash game lineups. I pretty much go with 1 cash game lineup. And I'm not just going to like give out my lineup on stream because I don't think that, that's good for what I want to do with this YouTube channel. But are you playing Keenan Allen anywhere given that Williams' knee is hurt and Henry is out? Marcus, did you see anything on Mike Williams on any final word? Because they said that he was like super questionable and he's like going to try to play. But they didn't say that he was going to be out or anything like that. I didn't know if he's going to be, in there and limited, if he's like going to try to make a go of it, whatever. Mike Williams questionable at 5,500. So he's active today. Term to game time call heading into Sunday. Williams ultimately gained clearance to suit up despite only turning in 1 limited practice during the week. Though he'll be available in Detroit, Williams won't necessarily be a safe bet to take on the 64% snap share received in the overtime win in Week 1. Schefter speculated earlier Sunday that the Chargers could lean on Mike Williams primarily in red zone situations. So that sucks. So that doesn't give you clarity on anybody in the whole game. Looking now, saw that he's going to play, but coach is concerned. Yeah, they were pretty much just saying that he might be limited to red zone snaps, which kind of sucks. One of those 6% players could be Travis Benjamin this week. Yeah, he's kind of one of those guys that you do want to leverage because say Travis Benjamin has a good game, that pretty much means that he has like 3 catches for 120 yards. So you're betting on one of those good days for Travis Benjamin. To combine that with what Kyle said, you don't want to be playing bad players. And I'm not saying Travis Benjamin's a bad player, but compared to the average NFL player, he's below average. And I think that's fair to say. He only had 3 targets, caught 2 of them for 12 yards. He's going to be low owned for sure. He's going to be one of those 6% plays, Marcus. You're right. But one of the best way I like to get leverage on the field, Mark, is by this. I don't like to play bad players. I like to play good players with bad prices. So, for example, a good player with a bad price is Saquon. Why? Oh, I meant to do all the games. Is Saquon. Would you rather have Saquon at 9,200 in a bad matchup or Alvin Kamara at 8,200 in a good matchup? 99% of people would rather have Alvin Kamara. So if you're taking Saquon, if you know that the better play is Alvin Kamara at 8,200, why not take Saquon Barkley, who has the skills to break off an 80-yard touchdown, like easily, 1,000 more? You're already going to be different from the field, because the majority of people are going to see Alvin Kamara for $1,000 less and say, that's a better play. In cash, give me Kamara all day because it is the better play. I want the better plays always. But in GPPs, I like to go for skill with a tough price point. Josh Jacobs is a good price. At 4,700, that's a great price. That's why he's going to be highly owned in cash, and that's why I don't want him in tournaments, because he's going to be so highly owned. And I don't want, I'm not going to go to, maybe FanShare and show you his projected. Let me show you why he's going to be so highly owned. I'm going to go to these 4 o'clock games, where the Chiefs and Raiders right here. This game is a 54-point over-under right now, and the Chiefs suck on defense, especially against the running back. And so Josh Jacobs at 4,700 is going to be one of those top-tier plays. He led the league in Week 1 in red zone touches. He had 40. He had 24 total touches, which is huge. 2 touchdowns. I think he gets more involved in the pass game. I think he's a great play in cash, but I think his price is just way too good for GPP play. Marcus, do you play a lot of GPP? No, not at all. I barely play GPP because right now I'm doing the 1,000 to 10K challenge, as you can see up here on my balance. So I kind of got to be more conservative with the type of games I play, which means I can't be playing GPPs. I got to play head-to-heads, I got to play triple-ups, I got to play quadruple-ups, but that's pretty much it. Yo, Ben, yo, what's going on, man? We're talking about GPPs, we're talking about how to get some leverage on the rest of the field. We're talking about, instead of playing, bad players with good prices for GPPs to get different, we want to play good players with bad prices so that we're a little bit different. Because I was saying, for example, Alvin Kamara at 8,200 is a much better play than Saquon at 9,200 because Alvin Kamara has a better matchup, Saquon has a worse matchup, and he's $1,000 more. But a good way to get different in tournaments is to have Barkley over Kamara, because Barkley is still super skilled where he can have a 2 touchdown 200-yard day, but he's gonna be much lower owned because everyone sees Kamara for $1,000 cheaper and they say that's an easy pick. So that's how I was kind of talking about leverage on those games. And I was just asking any questions on if there's anything you've seen for the you have any questions on the cash game lineup. Do you have any questions between talk to me about your stacks for GPPs this week. Kamara smash lock for me this week. Yeah, it's tough. Like I was telling Kyle earlier, like he said, do you want to eat chalk in certain spots? I was saying Kamara's going to be chalk, but that's chalk I'm willing to take. I'm not going to be the guy that, rolls out, say, for example, James Conner at 6,800 to be cute, and my opponent has Alvin Kamara, and Kamara has a 30-point day. Like, I'm not letting that happen. I don't care if me and my opponent both have Alvin Kamara. I'm going to eat the chalk at Alvin Kamara. But let me know, Ben, what are you thinking about some quarterback receiver stacks for this week? I think Mahomes Watkins is chalk, but in a good way, and I'll eat that. That's what I was just saying. I said my favorite stacks are Mahomes Watkins, Josh Allen, John Brown, and Big Ben and Juju. I think Big Ben and Juju is going to be super low owned after a bad week, and what people assume a lot of the times is a really tough defense in Seattle. But we saw what Andy Dalton did to them last week, so they're definitely going to be thrown on. Juju can have a big day. They're just going to be lower owned. Obviously, Mahomes Watkins is the better play. I love Josh Allen, John Brown. I'm a huge John Brown fan. He had 10 targets last week, 5,200, I think, and 123 yards and touchdown. Looks like he can, not only have that. Like, I was watching the NFL Game Pass last night at 3 a.m., and Josh Allen missed some throws. They didn't throw the ball as much as we wanted them to. The game script wasn't perfect. And I think that, he kind of was getting a feel for things at the quarterback position. It was their first game together. I think John Brown's stealing with Josh Allen is a lot higher than we saw in week 1. So I like that stack for GPPs a lot. I mean, I think that we've been using it in a lot of cash games this week. There's a lot of value, so we don't need to pay down. But even Derek Carr, Darren Waller, Tyrell in the same game is fine. I was thinking the same thing, Ben. Yeah, Derek Carr at 5,100, I think he is. Yeah, Derek Carr at 5,100 is a good price. They're, projected 23 points, which is all right. It's a pretty decent score. They're going to be trailing. It's not like he's a huge turnover machine. I think that he could easily have a big day with, Tyrell Williams or Darren Waller. Marcus told me earlier to make a lineup with Gardner Minshew for GPP. So let me see what that would look like. Let me just throw Gardner Minshew in there. Who do we want to stack from the Jaguars for Gardner Minshew? If you want to play Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Keenan Allen, then Derek Carr, Darren Waller, that's solid for sure. Who do you guys want to stack Gardner Minshew with? Dede? Yeah, Dede's a pretty solid pick. Oh, that's DJ Chark. Dede Westbrook at 5,400. Westbrook caught 5-6 targets, a touchdown. After 2 series, Westbrook, the 2 connected for a 15-yard touchdown for Minshew's first score. What else? We got DJ Chark at 4,500 and Chris Conley. He only had 4 targets, so I'm probably not going Chark. What did Conley do? Conley had 7 targets. He actually led the team in targets. So, all right, let's go Chris Conley because he's a little bit cheaper. Let's just start there. And I might even get back to Dede and we can get all 3. So, guys, who do you want to run this back with? Do we want to run this back with Will Fuller in a great matchup or Hopkins? Because, honestly, I think that it's a really good pick to play either. Will Fuller is going to get A.J. Bouyer's replacement because the second cornerback for the Jaguars, who's also an all-star next to Jalen Ramsey, is out. Will Fuller played 97% of snaps in week 1. It looks like that Cuty's back and healthy, but he's really going to be more of a nuisance to that Kenny Stills role in wide receiver 3. Will Fuller, when he plays, is just so freaking good at football that, you kind of want to get him in there. But we can either stack it either way. We can either do Hopkins or Fuller. That's kind of where I'm leaning. What do you guys think? Should we go Hopkins or should we go Will Fuller? Be a 30. Let's get it. Smash Will Fuller. All right, let's get it. I like that. Let's go Will Fuller. And then, guys, what do we want to do next? I don't think I'll go there this week because we have enough value, but Hopkins. Yeah, I agree, but the thing is, in GPPs right now, I'm just trying to build a highly correlated lineup. And the best way to do that is to have, quarterback receiver against a receiver on the other team because we're thinking there's going to be a high-scoring matchup if we're going Minshew Conley. This isn't what we're going to go with for, a lineup, but we have, Hopkins is the best receiver in the league, Ben. It's not even close. He was playing against, Marcus Lattimore, who's Marshawn Lattimore, who's a very respectable corner last week, and he had 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Hopkins, let's just throw Hopkins in there too. We're just going to super stack this tournament, this game. Defense, we'll go Bengals. Let's go all games. 2,600, we'll go, where are they? We'll go Bengals. And then we need to fill some running backs and tight ends. Do we want to pay down for T.J. Hawkinson or up for Travis Kelce? Because that'll depend on what we do at running back and flex. One thing I do want to get in here for my tournament lineup, because I think he's going to be low owned, like I was talking about early, is a guy that's going to run the ball a lot. It's kind of risky because, like I said, the matchup last week was better. The price last week was better. But I think that's going to trap a lot of people into not playing him. I think he's a pretty clear lock for 20 to 25 touches. This is a great player in a scheme that's going to fit him well. I think he's going to be super low owned is Dalvin Cook. Marcus wants to go T.J. Hawkinson, and I love T.J. Hawkinson, so I can't complain. Darren Waller's a good play at 3,300 as well, and Delaney Walker at 35. But I'm pretty much either going to go Hawkinson or all the way up to Kelce. So we went Hawkinson. We have a ton of money. So we can either go Michael Thomas at at flex, right? Or we can spend up for, say we could spend up for Alvin Kamara, or we could do Juju. What if we went Alvin Kamara? What do we have? 6,600 for flex. That gets us to the Kenny Golladay, Tyler Boyd range. And we can get any of the Rams receivers. So I kind of want to be exposed to this Rams game. What do you guys think? Should we run Brandon Cooks in the revenge game? Robert Woods after a 13-target day? Side note, I have Hawkinson and Waller in my other league. Who should I play today, boys? In a full-point PPR, I'd probably be safer and take Darren Waller. But I just like the talent of TJ Hawkinson a lot more. Chris Carson or Sony? Yeah, that's a good call. We could go with one of the running backs. Where's Sony? 62? Yeah, 6,200 right here. Yeah, we could do that for sure. And then we have here. What if we did this? At running back, we go right where we were just at with Sony, wherever 6. It's so weird. Sony's gonna be a low own because Austin Eckler's cheaper than him, and I like Austin Eckler a lot more. Let me just see this real quick. 7,700. If that gets us anything, I know that means we can have Sammy Watkins, we can have Keenan Allen, or Juju. Wow. Can we get up to the Denver defense? Let me see what that looks like. Denver. Yeah, for sure. And we still have 7,600. So we still have Keenan Allen in play, Juju, and Sammy Watkins, or even Travis Kelce. What do you guys think of flex? Do you think we should go Keenan Allen, Juju, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce, Dalvin Cook, lower owned than Sammy Watkins? I think. So this is kind of, Marcus, what I think a Gardner Minshew stack could look like in a GPP. Specifically, that Jacksonville-Houston game, you're stacking Gardner Minshew with his boy Chris Conley, running that back against Will Fuller and Hopkins. And then we're really taking some shots at other positions with Eckler and Kamara. We're taking a shot with TJ Hawkinson, Travis Kelce, Broncos defense. We have 300 remaining, which I do like to leave salary left over in GPPs. As I showed you in that article, that 88% of lineups use at least $49,800 worth of their lineup, which means having $300 remaining means that we already have a lineup that is differentiated from 88% of the field. So, which I really do like to see. Lineup actually looks pretty good. You see his suit he wanted to play. That's what I'm saying. That's literally the reason we got Gardner Minshew in the lineup. If he didn't come out looking like that, the Gardner Minshew does not get even a spot on the show. He gets no recognition. But that dude looks like a baller just because of that. And he was 22-25 last week. And I think the matchup's much softer against Houston. 4,800 is a great price. Chris Conley at 4,200. That's actually not even a bad stack because then you get to run it back with one of the Texans receivers. So you pretty much get to stack Gardner Minshew, Conley, and Hopkins. And that's a pretty good start right there. And if Will Fuller has a crazy Will Fuller day, this lineup could be pretty profitable right away because you have Kamara that's going to do Kamara things. You have Eckler and Travis Kelce, who are both really good spots, and you have TJ Hawkinson, who has blow-up potential because he's one of the most talented players at the position. Let's make a New Orleans Rams stack. Can we go Jared Goff or does it not? Let's go Jared Goff as the quarterback for that game. 5,900. Okay. Okay, which wide receiver do we want to go? Do we want to go Cooks, Woods, or Kupp? And I assume we're going to run that back with Michael Thomas. Marcus, Ben says Woods or Kupp. Which one are we going with? Woods or Kupp? Brandon Cooks is in a revenge game. I know, Marcus, you'd want to go there with the revenge narrative. All right, we're going to go Robert Woods, definitely my favorite receiver on the team. He had 13 targets week 1. We'll take that. Yeah, I agree. I was just going to say, we got to go Alvin Kamara too. But the thing is, guys, I don't want to sleep on the fact that it's really, really nice to go running back on the same team that we're going quarterback receiver with and running it back against the other team's wide receiver. So I understand how annoying Todd Gurley is to play, but I think that he could be super low owned in this type of situation. I'm going to go back to the Bengals defense for a second. Or no, we can just stick with the Broncos. Is that who we're using, the Broncos? We'll just stick there. Let's stick with Hawkinson at tight end. I love how Marcus just gets trashed in chat. I don't think Marcus got trashed at all, but I like it too. Does the goal line split concern you? Obviously it does, but like you were saying, me and Marcus were talking about it earlier. He was saying that, you know, right now in the early part of the season, there's a good chance that we have Malcolm Brown out there at those goal line carries because they're violent carries. We're trying to protect Gurley a little bit if we're Sean McVay. But when the games start really mattering, you're going to put your best player out there, which is Todd Gurley at the goal line. If you want to talk about one game that definitely matters to both these Saints and the Rams is this matchup. So I can see week 1, you know, Todd Gurley being like 2% owned at 7K in a tough matchup. And let me just see what this looks like, guys, for a second. And then at receiver, we can go Tyrell. And then we have another 4,400 for flex, which looks something like maybe... Oh, I love DK Metcalf, guys. I don't know if you guys watched the game. I watched the Game Pass last night. DK Metcalf looked really good. I know he only got 6 targets, but I was talking about how this game could be a little bit higher passing for the Seahawks. That's why I like Tyler Lockett in GPPs a lot. He caught 4 or 6 targets for 89 yards, and I think he led the team besides Chris Carson in targets. DK Metcalf at 4,300, I really do like in GPPs. We can go down to Chris Conley if we want. We can get to Cortland Sutton in a tough matchup, but a great player. I think he had like 120 receiving yards in week 1, 7 catches on 8 targets for 120. Much tougher matchup against Chicago, but still. What do you guys talk about? And then at flex, we have 5,200, which makes a good difference. Let's see what we get to there. So let's just for example, real quick, if we did stay with Gurley, I probably would go DK at 4,300. So the lineup, real quick, before I change it to this, would have looked something like Goff, Kamara, Gurley, Michael Thomas, Robert Woods, Tyrell Williams, Hawkinson, Broncos defense, and DK Metcalf. But now that we have 5,200 left, yeah, it's pretty easy. I'm going to go John Brown. You know that John Brown's in that stack with Josh Allen is one of my favorite plays this week. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good lineup actually with like this Ram stack. I stacked. This is what hurts me, right? In my only GPP play last week, I thought the Rams were gonna be low owned, and I'm huge on Jared Goff. Like I think he's gonna have a really good year this year, and this was pretty much my lineup. I had Jared Goff stacked with Kupp and Gurley, right? And it didn't work. And it's like, it's good to go back to those, like those post-hype sleepers where not everyone, because obviously it's GPP, so it's trying to be different. But I was on them last week. It didn't work out, so even less people are going to be on them this week. So I like running it back with, Goff, Woods, and Kamara. And, Kamara's going to be involved in the game no matter what. But say the game plan is something where the Rams go off with, like, Goff and Woods. Michael Thomas has a huge chance to blow up. But how much different is this lineup going to be than like the field if we just switch Tyrell Williams for DK Metcalf? A potentially 20% owned player in Tyrell Williams to like a 2 or 3% owned player in DK Metcalf. I think this is a very original lineup that no one's going to use in tournaments. I'm not saying you're going to win with this lineup. I like the lineup a lot, but it is a lot different than what the field is going to use, and I think that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for good players in spots where they can have good games and low ownership, and that's really all it is. We're not playing any bad players. I don't like going after bad players with good prices. I want good players with kind of awkward pricing, which is someone like Sony Michel, because Austin Eckler is cheaper than him, and I like him a little bit better for fantasy. But Sony Michel's a beast. If the game plan is we're a 3 touchdown favorite for the Patriots, let's just run Sony Michel all day. They could easily do that. But yeah, any other stacks you guys want to see? I know we've gone over the Josh Allen, John Brown stack a little bit. We've gone over the Patrick Mahomes, Watkins stack, and we've gone over the Ram stack. You guys want to do? Let's just real quick. We'll do one more stack. Let's do the Derek Carr stack that you guys were talking about. Derek Carr is at 5,100. Who'd you want? Did you want both Waller and Williams? Sony, I am a little nervous about this week, though. Could see Burkhead getting some touchdowns a lot of the time on the field if this game gets out of hand. All right, Marcus. This is going to sound stupid. 2 nights ago. All right, I definitely look at way too much football and like way too much Draftkings for this to be a thing. But I had a dream. Listen to me. This sounds stupid. I had a dream where Rex Burkhead had like 130-yard day with 2 touchdowns. I woke up. I wanted him to put in my GPP lineups. I'm not joking. I literally had a dream that Rex Burkhead had a fucking game today against the Dolphins. So I see why you're a little bit concerned about that. We can play Ingram or Kelsey here. Ingram's the better play at 5,200, but since it's a GPP, I want to get a little bit off that ownership of Evan Ingram. I think Kelsey's going to be a little bit lower owned. So I'm going to go Kelsey, especially running it with this stack. I think Kelsey's the better play. Let's go to... We'll stick with the Broncos because it's just, I like having like kind of a consistent defense that we just use for all our lineups. Marcus might start him after that news. Yeah, I mean, that could be some good news. I really do think, let's look at his pricing real quick. I think he's the minimum. Or no, I guess he's 3,800. But he played half the snaps in week 1. Sony was only on the field for 23 snaps. He outsnapped Sony in week 1. He had only 8 carries, but he did well with them. He had 8 targets. Wow, I didn't see that by Burkhead. To be honest, I didn't really watch this game. I know that, I'm a Patriots fan, but I went to the gym after all day of just sitting and watching football. 3,800 is pretty impressive, pretty good price. I mean, you had Danny Amendola in one of the lineups, and Burkhead is around the same price and a lot higher upside. Yeah, but the thing, Mark, the only reason I had Amendola in my cash lineups is look at his targets in week 1 at 13 targets. And, he's... The coaching staff there is like the New England farm team pretty much. Matt Patricia loves Danny Amendola. He knows what he can do. Matt Stafford says, "Wow, that's a good guy right there." Use Burkhead in a Mahomes lineup. Okay, let's just turn this into a Mahomes Kelsey stack, and we'll go Burkhead. Let's keep Tyrell Williams though, because we're gonna run back the Mahomes Kelsey with Tyrell Williams. We have Rex Burkhead. Let's find some receivers that not a lot of people are going to use. I think a lot of under-owned receivers are going to be in this T.Y. Hilton range. Last year against Adoree Jackson, the guy that's going to be covering T.Y. Hilton today, T.Y. Hilton I think had a 154-yard day with 2 touchdowns. And he had a good game in week 1. 6,800 is one of those awkward pricing I was talking about where a good player that's not super cheap and not super expensive is probably going to go lower owned. I think T.Y. Hilton's a pretty good spot. It's obviously not the best play on the slate, but he's going to be low owned. So I like getting to players like that. Let's go back to what Ben was saying about Dede. Let's just be involved with this game at some point. Let's go Dede. Another place I do want to go, I don't think we have to, but at Flex, I do kind of like to get a Fuller in a GPP. I think that's just a good play. Then we have 6,800 for running back. James Conner. We can go James Conner, Chris Carson, Austin Eckler, or Sony. Or we can switch some things up. What do you guys think? I like Keenan Allen, Cooper, and T.Y. Yeah, I like Hunter Keith Williams for sure. I like T.Y. a lot. I think that he's just such a good player. Jacoby Brissett, obviously Tennessee's a super good defense. We saw what they did to Baker last week, but I think that's why they're going to be low owned. I like good players in tough matchups for GPPs. What about Fournette? You fading him this week? I'm not fading him, but it's I only have so much confidence in our boy Gardner Minshew, where it's if you just look at Fantasy Labs for that game, that's a 1 o'clock game, right? Yeah, for that game, look, they're 8-point dogs, where it's I don't really like playing running backs when they're dogs because there's less opportunity for rushing attempts. So it's not that I'm fading him completely. I want to have some ownership to him if I am playing, a lot of GPPs. But in this specific one-team build, I'm not going to be there. I'd much rather have Eckler, Sony, or say James Conner more than him. So I'm not completely fading him. T.Y. going back-to-back good games, I feel is not super common. Could definitely see him being less owned. That O-line isn't great, and they will probably stack the box with Nick Foles out. That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, the offensive line is definitely not great. That's why Nick Foles is out right now, because they're giving him a lot of pressure to a Kansas City Chiefs team that Yeah, they have some good pass rushers in Chris Jones and now Frank Clark, but it still is not like you're facing, like the Rams defense. It's not like you're facing one of like the top tier D lines. So, yeah, to go from that to Houston, which you're still going to be facing against J.J. Watt this week, which Houston is I think personally, which sounds crazy, I think the Chiefs have a better defense than Houston when it comes to defending the pass. Against the run, I'd rather have my player be going up against KC. So I liked Fournette a lot more last week against the Chiefs than I do against Houston. Took me a second to realize what BDN meant. Yep. But what do you guys think? Should we this lineup doesn't feel as good? Maybe it's just because we went Mahomes. Like, what if we went down to Carr and we have some money to play with? And then we got up to Saquon. Derek Carr, Rex Burkhead, Saquon Barkley, Tyrell Williams, T.Y. Hilton, D.D. Westbrook, Travis Kelce, Will Fuller, and Broncos D. See, it just doesn't feel good. That's like one of those lineups that does win the Millie Maker, but just doesn't feel like it's as good of a game. The wide receiver looks spotty. That's what I'm saying with Tyrell, T.Y., and D.D. We don't have a stud. Will Fuller, obviously T.Y. is our most talented player, but Will Fuller has our highest ceiling. T.Y. Hilton probably still has the highest ceiling, but we have only ceiling plays with these three, and then we have kind of a floor play with D.D. Westbrook. So it's kind of not what I like to do in cash. In GPPs, I don't love having, the wide receiver as flex. Can we take D.D. out? Yeah, let's take D.D. out. Let's put Will Fuller there. And then what do we have at the flex spot? 5,400. Oh, I was like, wait, this is super flex? I can play Kyler Murray? Let's do that. Damn, we were 200 off Michael Gallup. I would have liked to get up to Gallup right there. Aaron Jones, that's a great talent in a tough matchup. I was preaching on that, where that's where we like to attack. But I think it's just a little bit too tough of a matchup. I'm a huge believer in Minnesota's defense this season. Dante Pettis, Matt Breida, John Brown at 5,200, or Evan Ingram. This is definitely where I would be at. I would be either one of these two spots, John Brown or Evan Ingram. John Ross, Ben says, 4,600 against San Francisco. He had 12 targets last week. That's pretty impressive. But honestly, I can't see myself going John Ross over John Brown. John Brown has an easier matchup. Dak just tore up that New York Giants defense last week. Evan Ingram, we know, is going to get, double-digit targets. So if I'm going to be safer with that, I definitely would go Ingram. If I'm going to go higher upside, go John Brown. Do we think John Ross has another good week? Marcus, I don't think they have Superflex DFS. Let me just... Where can I play Superflex DFS? Wait, you can play it on FanDuel? Yeah, right. Hold on, we gotta sign into FanDuel real quick. Let me see if you can play Superflex over here. That would be sick. I did not know that. NFL. 5 any flex. Super. Wow, they really do have Superflex. That's sick. Wow, guys, we might be making some different lineups next week. We might be doing some videos on some Superflex lineups at FanDuel. That's so cool. He's going to FanDuel right now. I don't play on FanDuel. As you can see from my $33 balance from last year. If they show your history of last time I played on FanDuel, I definitely have played. Currently have no entries in your history. Yeah, it's been a little while since I played on FanDuel, but that's sick that they have Superflex. I'm a huge Superflex fan. I like playing more quarterbacks, the better. I think that's a super cool. That's a huge advantage that FanDuel has over Draftkings. I'm definitely a Draftkings guy when it comes to the two, but that's sick, and I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty excited to see that. But yeah, did you guys say anything about the John Brown or Evan Ingram conversation? Marcus, you said that's pretty neat. I've never played in a Superflex league, but a couple weeks of DFS could get me pretty familiar. Marcus, we should play like our group here on like on these YouTube videos. We should have one of those like weekly matchups on FanDuel. We should even hold on, let me just change this real quick. We should do those weekly matchups on FanDuel where you kind of make a group and you all like put in. It doesn't matter what you put in for money, right? Because like it doesn't matter the price, but we all play we play like a tournament where it's like we play every single week. It's daily fantasy football, and the winner wins like $3 every single week. But at the end of the year, we see how many who won the most weeks. Marcus, Discord, DFS, yeah. Ben would be down. Let me hold on. I'll add you guys to that Discord channel real quick. Let me just pull that up so I can just add Ben to it, so that we could have a group of people that do that, because that'd be super sick. Like if we make we could just play against each other. YouTube captions. This is where I copy and paste my YouTube captions. Pretty simple. Join the Discord chat. Whatever. I'm just gonna copy and paste the whole thing. Let me know if that link works, guys, to the Discord. Basically, if we can get 20 people to, basically put in money on FanDuel and do Superflex, that would be super sick. Obviously, I'd rather play on Draftkings, but why would we not rather play Superflex? Superflex is way more fun, and it'd be cool to play against you guys. We'll just do $2 every single week, where it's 80% of the prize pool goes to the weekly matchups, and then 20% of the prize pool goes to the season long, whoever has the most wins or the most total points at the end of the season. We'll talk about it, but that would be super sick. I would definitely do that. But yeah, did you guys tell me about Evan Ingram or John Brown? Because I want to play a lineup in GPPs. Let me find a better tournament though, because I don't like playing the Millie Maker. I like playing the slant. That's just one quick. If I had to give you guys a little bit of GPP. Just one thing of advice on GPPs, it would be to play the slant instead of the Millie Maker. Let me show you guys something. I don't want Showdown Slate. Usually they have a big slant. All right, never mind. Bad example, I guess. What other tournaments are good? Basically, what I was trying to look for was tournaments that aren't super top heavy, where it's $1 million to first and $1,000 to 10th. I like to see $100,000 to first and $10,000 to 10th. Obviously, it's not that extreme, but you know what I'm saying. The slant is normally a good tournament, but they don't have a good slant this week. What tournament do we want to play? I like to play single entries or 3 maxes. If I'm not, max entering. What's this prize pool look like? First is 10K, 10th is $400. Whatever. Let's play a tournament. Guys, what's our tournament lineup? Stack Allen, Brown, and Ingram. I'm down. I love that stack. I'm down. This is the stack we're going with for tournaments. I like that. You guys are going to be part of this tournament. So when we take down first, I'll give you each 2%. Because we're going to take down I think first is 10K. So we're just going to take this one down real quick. What did we say? Ingram. And then, Ben, what did you say? We should just stick with Broncos, right? Because we all hate Mitch Trubisky and think he's an awful quarterback. Let's go to my favorite running back for tournaments, which is Austin Eckler. Yeah, there are really only 4 tight ends people will be taking this week in Kelsey, Ingram, Waller, and Hawk. I agree. Those are the only places you should be looking at. Obviously, I do think that one other spot is Delaney Walker at 3,500. He had 6 targets, 2 touchdowns, playing against a team that, they should be in the game at least, where Tennessee can't just hand the ball off to Derrick Henry the whole time. That was one of my first plays this week. Let me know what you guys think. I'm not a huge Derrick Henry fan. I actually hate Derrick Henry as a talent, but I think it's 6K in a game where he should see the ball 20 plus times on the ground. I think this is a decent cash spot. Let me know your thoughts on Derrick Henry. But so we started with Josh Allen, Austin Eckler, John Brown, Evan Ingram, and Broncos D. Where do we want to go? Do we want to go to the Rams game, or do we want to go to the Chiefs game for the next play or two? Love Eckler, throw shade at Mitch, and he will throw 4 touchdowns. Marcus, remember that last year on the Fantasy Footballers when Jason was saying that? And then he had like 6 touchdowns against the Buccaneers. My boss is a Bears fan, so I hope not. I dislike Henry strongly. Yeah, I do not like Derrick Henry at all in fantasy. Like season long, I don't have him in one spot, but I do like him this week in cash. Oh, Alvin Kamara, good call. It is the cash it is the chalk that we want to eat is Alvin Kamara. I didn't know. Do you guys want to play Alvin Kamara? If we could play one between Alvin Kamara, Hopkins, Michael Thomas, and Sammy Watkins, can you just let me know if it is Kamara over those guys? Because I want to play one of those 4. I love the Rams game, so do I. So let's go to our favorite 13 target guy in Robert Woods. I want to throw him in there. I do want to get exposed to that Chiefs game. I think Tyrell Williams will have the highest upside there. We have 6,500 left. Thomas will be lower owned than Kamara. Okay, I like that. I like your thinking there. So let's go Michael Thomas then. And we saved 200 for this last spot, and we're getting up to like 6,700. So we don't only have to take Sony Michel or whatever. Damn. Joe Mixon, Chris Carson, Fournette, Sony, Ingram, Derrick Henry. I don't like going there, so I kind of want to switch some things around so I don't have to pay there. So, like, say I go... What if I go Dalvin Cook instead of Austin Eckler? Because I'm a huge Dalvin Cook fan. 5,600 gets me to where at running back? I'm not running back. Why do you have to tease me with Michael Gallup? It gets me to Aaron Jones. James White at 5,100. Yeah, this is not perfect. Yeah, you're right. I'm just trying to figure out like what I want to do here. Maybe it's Robert Woods. It's kind of holding me up in salary. What if we go down to like? What if we go down to Will Fuller because it's a GPP? And then at running back, we still get up to Alvin Kamara. And then at 5,700, we go to Carry-On. Is that something we want to do? I want to get to Damon Williams at 5,800, so I can do this, and I'm just going to go down from the Broncos D to the Bengals. Boom. Let's enter that, guys. Marcus says Burkhead. I get it. This is the cash game we're going to enter. We're going to enter Josh Allen Josh Allen with John Brown running it back against Evan Ingram. We're going to stack both Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. For the Chiefs game, we're going to go Damian Williams versus Tyrell Williams. And then we're going to have Will Fuller by himself against the Bengals defense. And that's what we're going to run it back with. So that's going to be our GPP lineup. Let's just enter this. Basically, I have to adjust my cash game lineup, so I have to hop off right now. I have a lot of editing to do because like I told you, I have to at least enter a few more contests as well. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for coming out, hanging out with us. Let me know on Twitter if you have any questions. Let's hang out, let's talk during the games. I appreciate you all. I'll see you in the next one.